Have you ever wondered if you could beat Pokemon FireRed with only a rat? Chances are you have not, and you probably have something better to do and are not wasting your life in your bedroom all alone with the void in your heart that is as black as the black hole. In this video, I will be trying to beat Pokemon FireRed only with a single Rattata. To start off the challenge, I gave myself the fitting name of Rat King and immediately went off to Professor Oak to collect my starter. After careful consideration of the goat Squirtle, the piece of shit Charmander, and the beautiful Bulbasaur, I decided that no, none of them were good enough. I needed something bigger, something better, something more. But the game doesn't let you not pick a starter. So I picked the worst one, this weird, filthy looking lizard, in hopes that I would release it as soon as possible and get my hands on the glorious rat. But to do that, I need to get Pokeballs from Professor Oak as soon as possible. For those who have not played this game before, basically, you just go get Professor Oak's DoorDash and he gives you 5 Pokeballs in exchange. So I give Oak's fat ass his KFC delivery and he gives me the 5 Pokeballs, which I immediately take to the grass, where we finally get to meet an absolute legend fit for a true champion, the glorious goat, Rattata. After a little persuasion and a perfectly thrown Pokeball, Ronaldo joins our team. Before we move on with the challenge, I'd like to let you guys know that I grinded in the grass on Route 1 for hours on end just to get my Rattata to level 100. Okay, before you guys go type in the comments that this run is unfair and does not count, let me break it down for you why this run should be considered valid. Guys, as much as I hate myself and I would like to blow my shit smooth off in GTA of course, I don't hate myself enough to train a Rattata all the way to level 100 in the grass. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, this run is going to be incredibly easy with a level 100 Rattata. I thought so too at the start, but I could not have been more wrong. Although some of the early fights like this rival fight was pretty easy, it gets incredibly harder and harder by the end of the game with just a single Rattata. So sit back, relax, and watch Rattata take on Pokemon FireRed all by himself. First things first, after mollywopping some bug catchers, I move on to the first gym battle, Brock. Brock's low-level Pokemon are no match for me, so I easily pick up the first gym badge. As soon as I beat Rock, I immediately get rid of this filthy, sluggish, disgusting looking Pokemon called Charmander and head towards the next gym. After beating the absolute crap out of more trainers and encountering some charitable people calling themselves Team Rocket, I find myself falling in love. So just like every loving and caring husband in the world, I beat the shit out of my wife, in GTA of course, and move on with my life. Immediately after, I meet Gary again, beat him, do a BS side quest that has no plot relevance and move on towards the next gym. On my way to the next gym, I find this random old man in a ship and I help him clear his throat. Don't ask me how, but he gives me HM cut in return, which I put on a random Diglett to give me access to the electric gym. But don't worry, I did not use any other Pokemon besides my Rattata to fight any trainer in the entire game. As my Rattata is still too strong for the early game trainers, I easily beat Lieutenant Surge and get my third badge for the game. As soon as I beat the third gym, I pass through a horribly designed tunnel to move on toward my fourth gym badge. On my way, I beat Gary again, but I gotta say his team is starting to look pretty solid. Gary has really leveled up since we last saw him. But it is here where I should tell you that I went back and did everything again just so Gary has his hands on a filthy Charmander. Just so that every time I beat him, I get a little bit more joy. Fresh off of beating Gary, I take on my 4th gym badge. And I take her down just as easily as those before her. To move on to the next gym badge, I need this thing called a Silph Scope. So I ruined the entire charitable foundation of Team Rocket, tell them that the device was promised to me 3,000 years ago, and just steal it for myself. I use the device to go fight Casper. But instead of Casper, I find a grieving single mother. So I just beat her up and move on. In GTA of course. For this, I get a Pokeflute, which helped me further advance into the game. I quickly move on to go and beat Ninja, who has taken the mantle of a gym leader after his Fortnite career didn't go as planned. Then I hear Team Rocket is doing charity work again, so I immediately make my way to their headquarters to shut down their operation once and for all. But here is when it happened. The NPCs finally caught up to my rat's high level. And for the first time in his life, Ronaldo knew fear. Yeah, a random Machoke got the best of me. I have to be more strategic from now on. as the trainers are finally doing damage and threatening KOs on the glorious rat. But I won't back down. I go back to stop Team Rocket, but Gary gets in my way again. But once again, his team is no match for Ronaldo. I quickly beat Gary and take on the leader of Team Rocket and stop the Sivo Corporation once and for all. I teach my Rattata some new moves and recruit some HM Pokemon on the way. With my new and improved Rattata and no HM problems, I take down the Psychic Gym Leader Sabrina, catch an Articuno just so I can fly, beat the Fire-type Gym Leader Blaine. I make my way onto Epstein's Island. I vibe code an app for Bill for his AI machine, get the hell out of there immediately before Bill has his weight with me, and move on to the final gym leader. In this gym, not only do I have problem with the gym leader Giovanni, I even struggle to beat the NPC trainers stationed at the gym. From here and on out, I will need to use hyper potions, fresh sodas, full heals and everything just to get through each and every single trainer. This is where the challenge gets hard. To help defeat Giovanni, I teach my Rattata Dig. With the help of the new move Dig and a few hyper potions, I can finally defeat Giovanni and make my way to the Elite Four. Also on my way to the Elite Four, I teach Rattata Shockwave and annihilate a bunch of trainers on my way. And before you know it, I've made my way to the Elite Four. First up, I fight Lorelei with her Ice-type Pokemon. Rattata being able to learn Shockwave really came in clutch during this battle. Without Shockwave, I would not have been able to defeat Lorelei's team. Also, Lorelei's Slowbro was being extremely annoying and using Yawn again and again, making Ronaldo fall asleep. I used a bunch of awakenings to keep my rat awake, which helped me beat the first Elite Four member. Next up on the chopping block was Bruno. Bruno's Machamp was extremely hard to defeat as I was only doing 75% damage to it while it was one-shotting me back. To defeat his Machamp, I had to use an X defense to live at 1 HP. This was just enough so that I could two-shot Machamp and win the second fight. Next up, it was Agatha. Before we see the match between me and Agatha, can we just appreciate the aura farm Agatha's Gengar does in the anime? Alright, now back to the fight. I didn't really find it hard to defeat Agatha, but it was like a really lengthy process as I had to use a lot of health potions, a lot of awakenings, and a lot of full heals. But Ronaldo got it done. So we moved on to the final Elite Four member. Last but not least, we were fighting against Hiccup. Now Lance proved to be the hardest battle in this entire run. Although having Shockwave made it easy to take down his Gyarados, I was doing little to no damage to his Aerodactyl. But after using a lot of Hyper Potions and trickling him down with Shockwaves, I finally took it down. Blaine must have gotten pissed that I took out his Aerodactyl, so he sent out the final bosses of the final boss, his Dragonite. I was doing absolutely no damage to his Dragonite while he was blasting me to bits. I thought this was the end of our run. No matter how much I tried, again and again, I could not see a way where I could beat his Dragonite. Is this it? Is this how the run ends? Can you really not beat Pokemon FireRed with the sheer ambition of a single rat? No, you can do anything. You can do everything. With the power of steroids. Turns out beating the best of the best is pretty easy when you have enough Tren in your system to make a horse run straight to the f***ing moon. So I gave all the performance enhancement drugs I had in my backpack to my Rattata, and turns out beating Blake was pretty easy. And just like that, I had one more battle to go. One more battle till I become the Pokemon champion, with just Ronaldo alone. As soon as the match starts, I start blasting trends straight into my rat's bloodstream, as I know better than to play a fair game. Shout out John Jones. And just like that, the little rat from Pallet Town had everything he needed to become the Pokemon champion. Thank you guys for watching. Like and sub if you want me to do the same thing with Bidoof in Pokemon Diamond.